we jump right back into this kit, right where we left off in part one. I will put a link up above for part one if you have not seen that yet and you do want to go back and watch from the beginning. So I start off here cleaning up some of the horizontal stabs. Then I move right into paint. I paint the belly white, and then I'll mask off that, and I'll get the top part painted gray. And then I'll move right on into some more masking and playing with colors to get this ready for our decals. So as you can see, I've managed to get this painted, and the next thing I'm going to work on is the radome. And a few different things I can do. So you kind of look at the difference. I said, really? Did I just rip those instructions? Come on. I'm not going to follow exactly. Because if you look, the one here that I'm planning to do, this first one, like I said, I'm doing a mix. I'm doing this one here, but I'm going to use the fuel tank on here. But anyways, it looked like the anti-glare area is cut back. But that's going to be very difficult for me to mask because of the way this is formed. So I think I'm going to go with the farther design. That way I can mask this line up, and then I can just fade it out. When I paint this radome tan, I don't have to worry about this area because it's going to get masked off and painted all black, and it's going to make masking up there significantly less of a problem for me. So for now, although I still have to deal with, although I can feed it in behind. But yeah, so anyways, I also have to figure out this part because the panel lines on the kit are different than the panel lines on the decals. So anyways, bigger issues. But I'm going to go ahead and start masking that off. So we'll jump into a time lapse. I'll start masking off this nose section. We'll get ready to start painting it as radome tan. And here I'm starting to prep the drop tanks and bombs. I'm using the cluster bombs that are included in the kit. Just wanted to, no particular reason other than I think the cluster bombs look cool. So getting those prepped, you'll see I get them assembled, puttied, cleaned up, all that fun stuff. And just there's a lot of white that needs to be painted. A lot of the, as you can see, drop tanks, cluster bombs, the pylons, all that stuff needs to be painted white. So I'm just working my way through, getting all that ready to go and plugging along at painting. So I got to do a little bit of touch-up paint on this. When I pulled the masking off from this anti-glare panel, it stripped the gray paint down, and I've had issues with this in the past where the Vallejo primer, for whatever reason, will just peel off of certain areas of plastic, and it doesn't matter whether I wash the plastic or I, you know, wipe the model down with alcohol first. See, it's just peeling right off in giant swaths. There's another one right here, and it's right down to the primer layer, and I can't seem to figure out how to stop this from happening. It goes down, it stays down really nice, and then for whatever reason, you know, months or weeks later, as I'm doing some other work like that, peeling off some masking tape, even with low tack Tamiya tape, and it just starts peeling the primer right down, like right off the plastic. So I'm a little annoyed. I really wish I could get Tamiya primer again, but it's really hard to source in Canada because of some government regulations in terms of VOCs. Plus, it smells really bad, and I'm trying to get away from that. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to use a piece of cardboard. I'm trying to get away from some of the stinkier stuff with the kids in the house. So I'm moving to some more water-based, but it has its issues. So I'm just using Post-it notes. Post-it notes are naturally low tack. It's really easy to just mask off like this quickly. And I'll just use, you know, a piece of cardboard at my paint booth. Do I have anything? Yeah, see, like, for example, I'll just use a piece of cardboard to hold out down to here, and then I'll paint it, and it'll be enough. It should solve that problem without causing too much overspray. And it's just a quick hit to cover that up. Again, it's going to be like once it's weathered, a lot of that kind of variation will disappear and whatnot, but got to fix that issue. So let's get that done. Okay, well, we are at a point with this kit where I am pretty much ready to decal, and it's one of those moments where it's kind of surprising because one minute it's a kit and the next minute it's assembled and painted and you're ready for decals. So I'm going to use, before I can decal, I got to gloss coat. It just allows the decals to sit really nice if you apply decals on a flat paint. I do have a video where I talk about this in my tips and tricks section if you do want to hop over there and see it. I explain the whole purpose of this, but basically if you put decals on a flat surface, you can get air bubbles trapped under it due to the rough surface finish of a flat coat paint. So you gloss coat first, and And then you got a nice smooth surface for the decals to stick to. You don't get any air bubbles trapped. You don't get any of that silvering that you sometimes see on decals. This is just straight Future floor wax. I've had this bottle for close to 20 years. As you can see, it still holds its properties. It brushes on nice, it self-levels. Most bubbles will automatically kind of pop themselves and get out of the surface, so you don't have any type of bubbling effect at the end. You can airbrush it. I know people who have. I just brush it. It's so much easier than mixing multiple coats in your airbrush and whatnot. Yeah, nice hard surface. You can weather on top of it. I've never had any interaction with it. You sometimes might get an interaction if you apply too much water while you're applying a decal, or if you put Future over top of it again. You sometimes get a bit of a cloudiness that happens. It's kind of basically reactivating that lower layer of Future, and once it dries, all of that goes away. But that's the extent of it. I've never had a surface finish go bad because of any type of weathering I've put on top of it. So really, really good. So I'm just going to stop talking and finish gloss coating this kit. Yeah, got to get it all done. Take probably 3-ish sessions to get the entire airframe done. I usually let this sit for a number of hours. I don't know exactly how long this takes to dry. I've never really sat here and timed it. I just let the model sit for a couple hours. Then I can come back and do another area and another area. I wouldn't attempt to put decals on top of this for at least a good 24 hours after application, just to make sure that the surface has dried and is nice and hard. So, as I said, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm just gonna start futuring and get everything as far back to the tail as I can get done in this round. So let's get at it. And now that the Future's been applied, everything's dry, it's time for decals, and I'm using the Fighter Town decals, as I mentioned, and I had no issues with these decals. They're older decals I bought a while ago, but they went down beautifully. I had a small issue with the longer stripes on the drop tanks. and you'll see here in a couple of minutes as you're watching, they broke into multiple pieces, and I had to reassemble them down the length of the drop tanks. So it made it a little more challenging, but other than that, the rest of the decals went down beautifully. The Solvaset did its job and applied everything. If you do want to see the decal process in a bit more detail, I will put a link up above for the video, my tips and tricks video on the decaling process, so you can see how that gets done in a bit more detail, and if you want to learn versus just watch.
And now once the decals have the second coat of Future to seal them and everything is dry, I go ahead and do the black wash. And you'll see that here. A couple of issues I had. You'll notice when I apply this black wash, I don't paint the surface evenly. I tried to limit the amount of black pigment, so I kind of painted it on in a random kind of design and then wiped it off. However, everywhere I painted it on actually stained the Future. And at the end, you could see where I applied versus where I didn't. So going forward, I'm going to have to evenly coat the entire model with that black wash and make sure it's completely covered and there's no variation. And then when I wipe, it should all come out looking roughly the same. So not sure why that happened, but lesson learned, and you move forward. And you look, luckily with the A-6, the naval aircraft tended to have really patchy paint to begin with, so it doesn't look horrible. It actually almost looks proper. But if this was any other aircraft, this could have been a real big problem. So I had to lesson learned on that one. And as the kit progresses, we're getting more into kind of the fiddly bit territory of the assembly. You'll see I have the landing gear glued on. I'm getting the wheels glued on. I had just painted those up, got the centers all painted white, got them weathered. So they're being glued on. I've also started working on some of the pylons with the sway bars. You'll see with the cluster bombs, I'll start painting the fuses, the little thing at the front of the bomb gets painted aluminum. I then start moving on to things like gear doors, getting a little red line. The edges of all the gear doors all have like a red warning line. That all has to be painted. So all of these little things that need to get done, I kind of start plugging away at now, getting the model really kind of ready to go for those last little push.
So here we are, a good point to check in on this kit. It is coming along really nicely. I'm a little annoyed with the black wash. It really stained in a lot of cases, and I don't know why. I'm wondering if my future is starting to go bad, but it stained the future in places, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of it. Even back here on the tail, it left some weird marking. I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyways, overall, it's looking good. This thing has been decaled, weathered, flat coated. We're on the home stretch with this kit. So there's not much left. And one of the funnest things I like doing in a build is at this point being able to pull the canopy off, preferably without breaking anything. There we go. Getting that canopy off, and then you can start to see what it's going to look like with the canopy open. So that's always an exciting moment, but not a whole lot left to do on this kit. I still have to go through the instructions and verify everything. But I mean, the pylons have to be glued on. Drop tanks, still a little bit of flat coat to do. Things like the drop tanks still need to be flat coated. The speed brakes still need flat coat on them. I haven't done that yet. So there's still a little bit of work to go on things like that. I'm just going to peel off the little bit of white glue residue that's here from when I glued that canopy on temporarily. You got to remember to pull that stuff, because I've forgotten before, and it makes the kit look really bad when it's on the shelf and everything's assembled and you realize you've got little bits of white glue residue along your canopy edge. But yeah, it's coming along. I mean, there's not much left to do. Like I said, the pylons need to be flat coated and glued on. The weapons need to be flat coated and glued on. The drop tanks need to be flat coated and glued on. Speed brakes, I don't know if I said speed brakes already, flat coated and glued on. The steps for the pilot are pretty much ready. I just have to glue them on. One of the last things I'll do is glue that on, because I don't want to snap it off in the process of handling the kit. Sorry, I'm just trying to do this and talk at the same time, which always isn't the smartest of moves, but there we go. I'll touch up that edge a little bit with some more of the interior paint. So yeah, pylons, drop tanks, speed brakes, weapons, flat coat glued on. I've got the stairs, as I said, the ladders ready to be glued on. Some clear parts I have to put on, some lights, some antennas. That's about it. Pull the masking, which I'll do here soon, but it's coming along nicely, and that's going to look really good with that canopy mounted in the open position. So very excited to get this finished. So yeah, I guess I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to plug along on this and continue getting this thing built. So a couple of more minutes in this sped up video, and you'll see a completed A6 Avenger. So A6 Intruder, sorry. I've made that mistake before in this video. Anyways, A6 Intruder coming right along. So let's continue going, get this thing finished.
And now we're really into that last few steps with this kit. You'll see I'm gluing drop tanks on. I've got speed brakes glued on. I get the outer pylons, the multiple ejector racks get glued on. I then start gluing the cluster bombs in place. Canopy masking can come off. I start painting all the little detail parts on the landing gear, the refueling probe, the wingtip lights, the tail lights, getting all the clear lenses glued on for the lights. The last of the fiddly bits that you really want to do at the very end so they don't get broken off as assembly goes through. But yeah, you'll see it comes together and it starts looking really, really good, and yeah, almost finished.
Well, there we have it, folks. This A6 is complete. Again, considering the age of this tooling and the fact that there are numerous companies that make newer tooled A6s, I think this thing looks amazing. As always, you know, I could have done a few things different. I could have spent a little bit more time on certain aspects of it, but at some point you have to just say enough is enough. Put it together, it's finished. You could spend your entire life building one model if you're really, really, really worried about being accurate. I love this kit. I've always loved the A6. It's always been a model I wanted. I built built an E-A-6B when I was younger, probably about 10 or 11 years old with my dad. I actually still have that. It's gonna get rebuilt at some point in my life and finished in a different scheme. And then I also have the other one. I'll put a link to, do I have even a video of it? I'll put a picture up on the screen. I did this EA6B a couple of years back, probably about, 15 years ago I built this one. So I've done a few EA6Bs, but this is the first A6 intruder I ever built. And I mean, it's basically the same plane, but I like the A6. I watched Flight of the Intruder when I was a kid with my dad. Always enjoyed the A6 from that point on. It's just got a look to it. As my wife put it, it looks heavy. It looks mean. You know, it looks like it's coming in for a fight, like a bulldog. It clearly looks like a warplane. So, yeah, very happy with it. Like, you know, considering, as I said, the age, this is built 100% out of the box with the exception of the decals, which were Fightertown decals. So very, very happy with that. Didn't really pick this scheme for any reason other than just, it looked cool. So I went with it. Yeah, Not going to take too much longer on this. As I said, looks really good. Very happy with it. It's going to look great on the shelf beside the A-6B. And yeah, let's wrap it up here. So thank you all for watching. If you do enjoy the model content, stay tuned. There's always more model content coming out on this channel. And yeah, I'll put this on the shelf. Oh, and you know what? Before I forget, I will wrap this video up. I'll take some pictures of this. We'll have a quick little montage of some photos of this model finished. And then I'll put it on the shelf and we will move on to the next iteration on my desk. So thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.